As you've seen in the previous videos in this section regarding groupings and options, one of the main pluses of doing this is actually to hide a lot of the detail that's involved. So if I click on the detail here, you can see I'm hiding a lot of the individual steps here under larger groupings here. We can also do options as well here. Now, if you're starting from scratch though, you might want to import data that you've already got. And to support that, we actually have a function over here. We click on File, go to Import. And here is a grouped manual times. So here we can create a new grouped manual Excel sheet. So we just click on this and a default template will appear. It's already set up to show you how it's working actually. So you can see here we've got the individual tasks, the mold parts, and underneath that we have the parts processing, the setup, and the oven process. So we're actually using the same one that we use in the presentation here. So you can see the parts process, the setup, and the oven processing I have here. And we go down through all this and you can see that we've got all the different data documented in here. How it's set up. Now, the way it's set up is in a hierarchical structure. So here you get mold parts. Under that you've got a grouping called parts processing. Under that you've got a couple of activities here. Those activities can be value added, they can be non-value added, or they can be required non-value added. So you put a V, an R, or an N, capital V, R, or N to identify what type of activity it is, and then you put in the time here. If there's more than one operator, you can put it here. You leave it blank if there's one. By default, all the work content is assumed to be manual, unless you define it as being otherwise. You can see here the prepare mold mixture. That involves some walking here. Insert the oven and activate. That's an automated task here. So you can start flagging the items right here. And you can see this is just continued all the way down here. And documenting all of the tasks that were in the actual original process that we showed over here. So if I close this now, close the balancing here, all you have to do is come in here, go up to the top here, click on send to balance. Give it a couple of seconds. And all the information is dumped in here. Now it's coming in with the default value added, non-value added. And of course if I go to show all detail though, it's all coming up in white. We haven't color coded it. So we can do that as well over here if we come back out here and go back to the template. So all we do is we come over here and we click on the parts processing. And then we can come up here to the color selections here. And we can select whatever color we want that to be. So if I make this yellow, and I maybe make my setup a gold color, so here, and my oven process is going to be green. So whatever colors you select here, so you can put the green here. So if I do that now, and I pass it back over again, send to balance. Of course, from a value added point of view, it looks the same, but if I go to show all detail here, look what's happening here. It's starting to color code this. It's also creating groupings. So if I show the groupings, you can see here's the parts processing, the setup, and the oven processes. So whatever you have in the hierarchy here, so here's mold parts, which is the task, parts processing, setup, and oven process, is now showing up over here. Parts processing, setup, and oven processing under the mold parts task. So we can continue to do that with the next station here. So we just close out of this again. We're not saving at this point. And let's say my setup is going to be, my cleanup is going to be gold. So I can make it gold as well. And my stacking parts will be yellow. And you can use any color, but we see a lot of people sticking to one kind of color scheme so they know what they're looking at here. So then I can make this green here. Right, so now I've got the same again, slightly different sequence. I go send it to balance. You see it coming out again. Default value added, non-value added. Go to show all detail. You see the color codes in here. Show all groupings. Notice also that it's identified here in my above three parts. These are my options icons. Remember the little options icons? In fact, you can see that it's already highlighted all the different options here. Right? Add light, mounted parts, and so forth. How is this done? Well, we can see this if we go to the next station in the line here. So here's above three parts. Here's the parts prep. So I might make this yellow. And down here, what you do is you put the word option in parentheses. That is what's going to create the option automatically when you pass it in here. So let's say your color code for the options had happened to be blue all the time, so you could put blue in here. Get two options right here. Just picking these things. Go back up to the top again, and I'll send this one over. Send to balance. Click on the show detail. Here's my color coding here. Show groupings. And there you can see my two options, my add light and my mounted parts. And it's already added these over here, so I can come in here and just say, well, I just want to see my mounted parts. It shows you just that one in isolation. Base with no options or all options. Right, now there's a number here not still to be done here, so I'm just going to continue doing this at the moment. So now you can see what I've done. If I scroll down here, I've color coded every single grouping according to the particular nature of that grouping here, and everything's available to us now. I'm just going to save this, and this is actually going to be the group process you're going to get in your sample area when you install Timer Pro. So you can bring this up and look at how it's done, and then we just click on the send to balance, give it a couple of seconds, switch over to show all details. You'll see all the color coding has been applied, and then we just come in here, show all groupings. You can see I've actually made a mistake here. This one shouldn't have been an option. So what I'm going to do is close out of this, come back over here, look for that particular activity, my tray. Right here, this one should have been a regular piece of work. So I'm just going to come in here and change it back to green. So the tray under attached tray, I'm going to save that. And then I'm going to come back up here, send it to balance again. Click on show all details. You can see it's now green, the color I want it to be. Show all groupings, and there it's there. So now you're ready to start accessing all of the reporting packages and so forth.